Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric. I got a fun and exciting video for you guys this evening as we're taking a look at the new version of Sega vs. Capcom The Next Level. And if you didn't watch my previous videos on this game or haven't heard the news, this is basically a completely fan-made game taking the concept of SNK vs. Capcom but adding in Sega, making an entirely new fighting game that absolutely just seems like something that's going to be incredible when it's finished. Right now, the new version of the game is going to add 2 new playable characters as well as a secret hidden boss. If you meet the requirements to face him, you'll see him later in the video, and it has a bunch of other quality of life improvements and menu option improvements. For a good far involved though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But if you haven't noticed yet, Axel Stone and Batsu there are 2 of the new characters that have been added into this build of Sega vs. Capcom, so the roster has gone from 4 to 6. And the developers of this game have been releasing betas for the community to test out, try, and provide feedback on as they iterate on it, which I think is a very good thing, because I would definitely say the last time I took a look at this, I said trying to fight Sonic, the balance was just completely off, and a lot of your strikes would just be hard to actually hit because he was a short character, and I've definitely felt some improvements in this build moving forward. But honestly, this game being made by fans looks absolutely stunning and looks very close to something that could be a retail release, and it isn't even a finished game yet. I love the animations, I love the characters, and I love mixing up the worlds of both Sega and Capcom into their own fighting game. And I can't wait to see what other characters get announced, because I don't believe we know the entire roster of characters that's going to be in Sega vs. Capcom yet. I definitely have some characters that I would love to see pop up, but you leave me a comment down below and you tell me. But for me personally, seeing the dude from Cosmic Smash come in would just be absolutely hilarious. As we move on to the next fight here, playing as Batsu and Axel, I do love all of the tag mechanics and tag attacks that are in Sega vs. Capcom. This game has an excellent flow to it, it's got a lot of rhythm and a good move set. I would say right now, in beta, some of the difficulty curve can be a little bit weird. I feel like the difficulty adjustment numbers don't really do much at all to actually change out the difficulty of the computer AI. It is fair, it's not super cheap, but if I put it on the easiest or the hardest setting, I feel like I basically get the exact same result out of the back. But again, because this is in active development, it just might be something that is a coding bug, or maybe I'm just not noticing what is obviously right in front of my face. But all of these tag attacks, all of the animations, all of the different visual effects look absolutely incredible. It is hard to believe that this is just done by fans, and I would say this background here looks kind of like Knuckles' stage from something like Sonic Adventure 2, along with those skull tellers in the background that look like they're ripped straight from Super Ghouls and Ghosts, where they spit out the smaller skulls, and if you pay attention, you may even see an evil Chow in the background. This game is absolutely littered with these small details that you can tell the developers love putting in, just to kind of tie the worlds of Sega and Capcom together. But honestly, first and foremost, it is a fighting game, so it doesn't matter what sort of fun details are in the background. If the fighting game engine isn't fun and responsive with a great move set, you're really not going to want to play the game. The good news is, even in beta, I absolutely love what this game does for the moves, for the responses, for all of the inputs, everything else. It feels like a retail game that you could just download on Steam, somebody like Capcom or SNK released. It is responsive and everything just works. And just so you know, I'm using my TR Octopus fight stick for this, so I have a full fight stick for Windows, and it just 100% hits. As we move on to the next stage here, here's a little test for you. On the right hand side of the screen, in just a moment, you're going to see a white dog right there. You tell me down below what game that's from, because technically it could be a white dog from both a Sega game and a Capcom game, so I'm wondering if anyone will get both of the bits of inspiration. Sometimes you can obviously tell what something's from game-wise, and other times you have to think a little bit harder, and if you get both right, I will be impressed of your game knowledge. But honestly, everything that Sega vs. Capcom is doing so far is just working for me, and a lot of the balance adjustments of the characters that you can play in the game are just feeling so much better than previous versions. And last update, I didn't run a video on this because I was having issues with stability in the game, where I would get a ton of frame drops and the game would just crash, and that's been completely fixed. But honestly, the soundtrack is great as well, so go ahead and listen for 45 seconds and you see if you can figure out what the inspiration behind this track is. I think it might be relatively obvious, but the music's great, so go ahead and listen. I'll be right back to talk more about the gameplay. Enjoy! Awesome music and awesome sound effects, especially for Sonic there, and honestly, this game just feels like it is a retail release from professional developers. When I talk about professional devs versus fan devs, the only thing I mean is that the fans aren't doing this officially. They're probably not collecting a salary and working on games in their actual career, but they're otherwise doing the exact same things, because trust me, a lot of these fan developers could probably just go apply for a job at a studio right now and get hired based on this work alone. And that is just one of the things that actually comes with fan development. Sometimes they do even a better job than the companies that are actually in charge of making games like this, because if Sega or Capcom announced this tomorrow and showed off this footage as some work in progress footage, people would definitely be excited about it, and I would not blame them whatsoever. And that is just a really nice thing to be able to say about a project. It feels like something that could actually be an official release, and if Sega or Capcom are smart, they just contact the developers at the end and say, we'd love to distribute this game, let's make a deal, and let's get it out there in the public. But let's do an entire match from start to finish, because one of the things I really love about Sega vs. Capcom is the fights are not short. Those health bars are meaty, and you're going to have to take a lot of attacks to get them down. And you will see at the top of both ends of the screen, left and right, you're going to see tag OK and assist, as well as a counter. There is a cooldown meter on the tag in, and I think maybe it might be a little bit too quick to actually refill. It's 150 quote-unquote ticks, but it comes up so quickly, you might be able to abuse the tag attack just a little bit too much. So I'd love to see maybe either a manual adjustment for the cooldown effect, so you could set it in the options menu, or maybe bring that up to more like something like 250, because it just feels like after you do that tag attack or tag in, you can kind of just pivot to it again very quickly. And you'll see here, everything just seems like controlled chaos on the screen in all of the best ways. I love this game, and I love stuff like Marvel vs. Capcom, because even though you're in control of it the entire time, and even though you're putting all the controls in, sometimes the chaos on the screen just makes it seem like a frantic street fight come to life in front of you in all of the best ways possible. And I would say Akira here, one of my favorite characters to use in the game as well. Currently, it seems like there still aren't any alt color palettes in for the characters, so if you're fighting a mirror match, the CPU is just going to go grayscale, and that kind of actually works in some stages. In other stages, it kind of causes a little bit of a visual separation issue between the foreground sprite and the background 3D, and I would say that 3D to 2D kind of look works as well, just like in Marvel vs. Capcom, and of course there's definitely going to be more stages as the game progresses. But I love the visual styling, I love the gameplay mechanics, I love the character selection so far, and I just love that something like this can exist. And at least to this point in time, both Sega and Capcom have just left the developers alone to do whatever they want, and both of the companies seem to be relatively cool about that, Sega being the leader of, as long as you're not stepping on something we're making, we won't bother you. But one more soundtrack sample, because I do love the music in this game, and you're going to see the hidden boss as well. So go ahead and listen, and I'll be right back with more.
Dr. Light, you have my thanks.
I've been waiting for this moment. Come on!
It's ready. Fight!
Get finished! Hadouken!
And you'll see here we're fighting the hidden boss Nil Ryu, which I initially thought was Null Ryu until I zoomed in a little bit on his name and realized that's an I, not a U. It's one of those things, if you go ahead and play the arcade mode of this game and you beat every single opponent until you get to the end without taking any continues, he will appear. I can't wait to see what other bosses this game trots out as well. I'd love to see an Eggman boss or something else funny like that, but honestly, Sega vs. Capcom The Next Level is shaping up incredibly well. All of these different demos have improved every single time. A lot of the balance issues that I had with trying to fight against Sonic have definitely been improved. You have new characters, new stages, new music, and just more of a good thing. And when this game is done, I think it really is going to find an audience. I don't know if you're going to see it played competitively all over the place, but you might, and that would be an awesome time. But it just goes to show fans can make some incredible things when they put their mind to it, and something like Sega vs. Capcom The Next Level is incredible. But you'll see there, Nil Ryu absolutely destroyed me like an SNK boss, so it should be S versus C. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.